Hello, and welcome to the Individual and Family Support Program Funding Application Training Session. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. My name is Heather Hines, and I'm the Program Manager for the Individual and Family Support Team. I'd like to introduce you to our other team members. We have Rachel Vimenta, our Communications and Program Coordinator, Rhonda Gaines, our IFSP Community Coordination Supervisor, and Lynn Fetter, our IFSP Support Specialist. Also joining us today is Dee Dee Thomas, the WAMS Data Team Manager. We are excited to share some information with you about our IFSP funding application process this year. Next slide. Okay, today we hope to give you all the information you need to complete your funding application. This will include basic information about the Individual and Family Support Program, eligibility requirements, a demo of the application process, and some other tips to help make sure that the process goes smoothly for you. A few housekeeping items. The session will be recorded, and we will post the recording of either this training or another one of our trainings on the My Life, My Community IFSP funding page for others to watch who were not able to attend. And we'll give you information about the later on in our session. All attendees will mute during the session. And if for some reason you get disconnected from the meeting, please come on back and we'll admit you. If you have questions, please put those questions in the chat. We will answer at the end of the training session any questions that we're able to get to. When you put a question in the chat, all participants will be able to see it, so please do not share private or personal information. If there are questions we're not able to answer in the amount of time we have, feel free to email us at the IFSP support mailbox, and that email is on the slide, and we can also put it in the chat. Next slide. So before we jump into funding, we'll share a little bit about what the Individual and Family Support Program is. So IFSP, or Individual and Family Support Program, is part of the Developmental Services Division at the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services. The program was created to assist people with developmental disabilities and their families, particularly those on the DD waiver waitlist, with accessing person-centered and family-centered resources, supports, and services. As you can see on the slide, the IFSP is not just about funding, although I know that's why everybody's here this morning. We do have other programs, including peer and family mentoring, the My Life, My Community website and call center, and our community coordination program. We work very hard to ensure that information reaches the community through marketing, messaging, and a monthly digest featuring resources, training, and events. You can join our email list or follow us on Facebook for updates. And we will drop in the links so you can join that email list and find our Facebook page. So check the chat for that. Next slide. Another thing we wanted to let you know about is that in September, we sent our annual notification to everyone on the waitlist, on the DD waivers waitlist. So if you were on the wait list and we didn't have your email address on file, then you would be getting it at your home address. If we did have your email address, then you will check your email because you'll see it there. It was sent out in August. It included what's called our First Steps Guide, and that's a guide that we designed to help people understand what resources are available to them in Virginia. We'll also be sharing the link to the electronic mailer that I was just talking about in the chat, so you can pull that up if you weren't able to find it in your email inbox. All right, and there's also a QR code on the slide if you'd like to use that. All right, next slide. Okay, so you were all here to learn about funding, so we're going to start getting into that. First, to be eligible to apply, you need to be on the DD waivers waiting list and be living in your own home or with your family. So if you meet those criteria, you can also have someone apply on your behalf. And the only person you can have apply for you is a family member. And that family member must be somebody that you live with and who helps you make all major decisions. If you are under 18 years old, you must have a family member apply for you. And we'll talk about these things again. So if there's any questions, we'll kind of reiterate it later in the training. Okay, so mark your calendars. The application period kicks off on Wednesday, October 1st at 9 a.m. and will stay open until October 30th at 11:59 p.m. So you'll have 30 days to apply. Everyone will be able to apply at any time during those 30 days, so take your time. And if you need help, we do have staff to help you, but they are going to be available until 5 p.m. on the 30th. So we just want to make sure that if you wait till the last day, we won't just know that there won't be staff at the phones after 5 o'clock on that day. So we recommend you start earlier, but you don't have to do it first thing the beginning of October. It's not a first come, first serve program. It used to be years ago, but it hasn't been for quite a while. Next slide. So some things that are important to know about. It's best to apply on a laptop or a computer or a tablet. We cannot promise that it will go smoothly on smartphones. We recognize that that is inconvenient, but the system unfortunately was not designed for smartphones. But if you use a laptop or tablet or your desktop, you should be fine. The application can be translated into Spanish, and we'll show you how that works during our tutorial. And just so you know, if you do need to, you can print your application or make changes to it before the 30-day window closes if you need to. So if you apply earlier in the month and you change your mind about what you want to use the funds for, you can go back in and make changes, and we'll talk about that as well later. Next slide. Okay, so each year, Virginia sets aside about $2.5 million to help people on the wait list. This money is meant to support individuals and families with urgent needs. We divide the funding into two halves. Half goes to priority 1 applicants and half goes to priority 2 and 3 applicants. And when I say priority 1, priority 2, and priority 3, I'm talking about if you're on the wait list, and you've met with people at the Community Services Board where you signed up, where you're connected to for wait lists, when they do your assessment, you are assigned a priority based on your specific situation and your specific needs. So IFSP uses those priorities to determine how we approve funding. So what that means for you is if you're in priority 1 on the wait list, you may apply for up to $1,000. And we look at your critical needs summary score. And that's a score, again, that it's determined when you talk to the Community Services Board or the support coordinator or case manager that you're working with. When you get onto the wait list, they talk to you and ask you questions, and that's how you get a critical needs summary score. And so we look at that, and this helps us understand how urgent your situation is. And so funding is approved first for those with the highest critical needs summary scores. So if there's not enough money to help everyone in priority 1, then anybody that's left on priority 1 will be added to a random selection pool with priority 2 and 3 applicants. Priority 2 and 3 applicants may apply for up to $500, and all priority 2 and priority 3 applicants, along with people on priority 1 who didn't get approved in that first review, are entered into a random selection pool, and preference is given to first-time applicants as well as people who were denied last year. So don't worry if you're on priority 1 and you didn't get don't have a very high critical needs summary score, you're still added to the random pool, so you're not left out. All right, next slide. So let's talk about a few reasons why someone might not be approved for funding or might not receive funding. Number one, you don't meet the eligibility. So you're not on the wait list, or you don't live with your family, or in your own home. Maybe you live in a licensed facility or a licensed home, then you would not meet the eligibility. Another reason is if you did not follow the program rules in the past years. And then another thing, if we go through everything that I talked about on the last slide and we look at critical needs summary scores, and then we look at the random selection process, if you were not approved based on that process. And if you received funding last year, you may not be funded again this year until other people have had a chance. But don't worry, this doesn't mean you will be denied for sure. It just depends on how many people apply and how the selection process goes. So we still encourage you to apply even if you got funding last year, because there's still a decent chance that you'll get funding again. Another thing to note is, let's see. Oh, another thing is if you were no longer on the DD waiver waiting list when funds are issued, we cannot issue funds then, or if you've enrolled in the DD waiver funds. Even if you were on the wait list when you applied, if you get a waiver slot before funds are sent out, then we can't send you funds. All right, so next slide. All right, so what can funds pay for? You can apply for funding to pay for items or services that help you live safely and stay connected to your community. And these funding categories, there's 3 funding categories. We have safe living. Those are things that help you stay safe at home. Community integration, things that help you be part of your community. And improved health outcomes, things that support your health and well-being. The goal is to help you stay in your own home or your family's home and live a healthy, active life. Next slide. And also there's a link that we'll put in the chat for the funding page so you can get to the guidelines. The guidelines will have the full list of everything that is that you're allowed to use funding for. And so you'll want to take a look at that before you apply so you know what you're going to put on your application. Next slide. All right, so let's stay on this slide, what to expect after you apply. So if your application is approved, you'll receive your funding within 2 to 3 months after the application period closes. First of all, you'll get an email right away confirming that your application was submitted. Then you'll find out if you're approved or denied within 45 days after the application period ends. So the period closes on October 30th. And then within 45 days, you'll know whether you're approved or denied. And then if you are approved, you'll get your funds within 3 months after that, after October 30th. All right. Next slide, I'm going to introduce you all to Dee Dee Thomas, our WAMS data team manager, and she is going to cover the funding portal and some login requirements and do a demo for you. Thanks so much.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Dee Dee Thomas. I am the WAMS administrator and data manager. And let's talk a little bit more about the portal itself. So the waitlist and IFSP portal is a website that can be used by anybody who's currently on the waiver list or waitlist or their custodial family member. And they use this website to apply for funds. The portal can be used to complete the waitlist forms for those who want to remain on the waitlist and or complete their individual choice and needed services forms. So I'll show you exactly where that is once we log in. Eligibility to apply for funds, as Heather mentioned, those who are on the waitlist. So the applicant must be on the waitlist in WAMS, the waiver management system. The living situation means that the applicant must be living in their own home or in a family home. Next slide. Who can complete the application? So that's anyone who is on the wait list or their custodial family member who's applying on behalf of that person And the definition of custodial family member is a family member who has primary authority to make all major decisions affecting the individual and with whom the individual primarily resides. So you'll hear me reference custodial family member throughout this session. When logging in, remember it's the applicant's information of the person that's on the waitlist. The applicant is the person that's on the waitlist. So when you're logging in, the credentials that you'll need to be able to log in is the applicant's last name, the last 6 digits of their social security number, and their date of birth. You don't want to enter the family member's information on the login page. You want to make sure you're entering the applicant's information. And last but not least, you can practice logging in at any time, even before the funding period begins. So after the session, if you just want to go practice logging in, feel free to do that. Next slide. This is basically a picture of what the login page looks like. As you can see, you'll go directly to this login page by going to dbhds.virginia.gov/IFSP online. You'll see an option there to log in either to the waitlist portion or directly to the IFSP portal. Okay, I am going to start sharing my screen so we can actually look at this live. All right, hopefully everybody can see my screen. I'm actually at the login page for the waitlist and IFSP portal. One of the first things you'll see at the very top is the Espanol option. If you click here, this will actually convert it to Spanish so that you can see this information, and it's a toggle. So if I click on it again, it will take me back to English. Now, one of the things about this login is I can either click here and look at the login for the IFSP portal. I wanted to point out that if you're on the waitlist portal, this is the information for the waitlist. If you're wanting information about the IFSP, you want to make sure you click here, and it's going to give you the telephone number to call if you need assistance. For instance, if you're unable to log in, if you don't have the right credentials, it's going to give you an error message, and you want to make sure that you can get some help. This is the number that you want to call. So I'm going to go through 3 different scenarios. One of the things that you'll find with this open period is we've made a few changes to the application, which makes it a little bit easier to log in. You're going to go through a series of questions so that it will open up the right application for you, as opposed to filling out and scrolling through other information that's not specifically related. So the first scenario is an individual who is over the age 18 and is going to be applying for the funds on her own behalf. So her name is Ann Clark, so last name is Clark. The last 6 digits of the Social Security number is 556847. And Ann's birth date is February 3rd, 1971. By the way, anytime you see an I in a blue circle there, that's information. And it's basically when you put your mouse over top of it, it's going to give you a little bit of information about that particular field. So it's basically, this is telling me how to input the date information. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and click on Login. And that takes me to the IFSP homepage, the welcome page. And you can see over the right-hand side, I have a scroll, so you can scroll down and see more information. On the top, you have the Start New Application button, and you also have the Espanol button here. So again, if you need to see this in Spanish, you can just click. And again, it's a toggle. I click on English to return back to the English version. On the left-hand side, we've got the menu option. And remember earlier, I talked about the waitlist portal and how to say that you want to remain on the waitlist, that information is here. So you can actually click here and complete the choice form, or click here and complete the needed services form. But we're here to do the IFSP, so you can see it's highlighted here. We're on the IFSP home page. Now, we're ready to go ahead and create Anne's application. So I'm just going to go through this very simply, straightforward. When I click on Start New Application, it's going to ask you the first question: who's submitting this application? Well, it's Anne who's submitting it on behalf of herself. So she can then say, I am a person that's on the DD waitlist. If it was a custodial family member, then they would select this option. But we know Anne is going to complete it for herself. We're going to go ahead and click on Continue. The next question is, do you currently live in your own home or a family home? Well, Anne lives with her family, so she's going to select the second option. Yes, I live in a family home. If she lived in her own home, she would select this top option. And if you choose no and can click on Continue, that you don't live with your family or in your own home, then it's basically going to kick you out of the system. It's not going to allow you to apply. But she lives with her family, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Continue. The next thing, it basically is letting you know that if you need help as a person who's completing it themselves, if you need help filling out this information, then someone can assist you, but the social security number must be yours. And if you're approved, the funding card is going to be issued in your name. So we're just going to go ahead and click on Continue here. So here we have the application itself. Up at the top, you've got several buttons here. You can save your changes as you're going through. This is your Submit button. You've got a Discard button, and again, your Espanol button. The very top is the application section. And you can see that this top portion is grayed out here. This information is coming directly from the waiver management system, and you can't make any changes here. But one of the things that you want to do as you're scrolling through is make sure that your information is correct, because this is going to be how and where you're going to get the funding and your emails. So if you needed to update this information, for instance, you needed to put in an apartment number, you can click on the Update Information button here. But I'm going to go ahead and scroll through, and you're going to see nothing needs to be changed here. So I'm going to scroll down to the funding category. And this is where you get to say, these are the things that I want, and let us know how much it's going to cost. But before you do, you have to check this option. I understand and acknowledge that I'm applying for the IFSP funds, and it also lists the priority and the maximum amount that you've gotten here. And this is all based on how you log in as the applicant. It automatically knows what the priority is and how much money that you're eligible for. We highly encourage you to read what's covered and what's not covered. You can click on this link here directly from the application before you start completing the what you need. So then under the funding categories, we have the 3 areas that Heather mentioned. If you click the drop-down arrow, you can see safe living, community integration, and improved health outcomes. So the first one that Anne is going to select is Safe Living. She needs some grab bars. So once you select the category, then you get the items that are associated with that category. So you might need to scroll down to see all the additional categories. You've got the scroll bar here. And we're going to go ahead and select handrails and grab bars. After you do that, notice that whatever you select highlights in blue, but it also puts the item up at the top. So if you selected the wrong thing, you can just click on whatever is needed. And as you can see, it's going to change based on whatever is selected. So again, we're going to select handrails and grab bars, and then we're going to put in the requested amount. Now I'm going to put in $267 $265.67. Now notice when I actually add this requested amount, it's going to round it up to the nearest dollar. So even though I put in the cents, it put in $266. So this is the requested amount. It puts the details in the current funding category section, so you can see exactly what it is. And you also have an option to edit if you put in the wrong amount, or delete it and select something different. We're going to go ahead and select another category. Actually, we're going to select safe living again because there's another item for safe living and needs a wheelchair. So we select safe living, and then we're going to scroll down to the very bottom and choose wheelchair and put in the amount. And then click on add requested amount, and now you can see you've got two items there. We're going to scroll back up to the other category because Ann has $1,000 that she's eligible for. And we're going to choose community integration and then scroll down till we see transportation services. Ann needs to be able to get to her appointments, and the requested amount is $334. Add requested amount. And as you can see, it's just adding. And if you scroll down to a little bit more, you'll see that it's also put the total here as well. So right now we've got about $200 more available. So we're going to select improved health outcomes, and we're going to choose communication and assistive technology, and would like to get a tablet so that she can stay organized and communicate. The amount is $200. Actually, let me put in $199.99 and add requested amount. You can see that it did round it up to the $200. So now that we have the total requested amount equals to 1,000, the next section down is the signature section. And at this point, basically you need to certify that the requested services are needed for to continue in his or her home. And then the next one is to agree to provide the department, if requested, documentation that's going to establish that the requested funds were used to purchase only the approved services or items. And then lastly, that you understand that failure to provide documentation when requested could mean that the money will be recovered and possibly denied for a subsequent future request. And then last but not least, here we have where you can type your signature. We changed this a little bit too. So now all you have to do is type your first and last name. So I'm going to put in Ann Clark. It automatically puts the date. Now, at this point, you want to make sure that you're reviewing your information to make sure it's correct. Make sure your email is correct there. Make sure that the address is correct, the social security number. Make sure you've got all of your items in correctly. And we're going to go ahead and click on Save Changes, because we're going to save the changes just to make sure we don't lose anything. And notice it will give you a message that said this has not been submitted. I'm going to go ahead and choose Continue. So it lets you know that the record has been saved. It happens really quick, but it did save the information. And once you reviewed it and you're ready to submit, notice you've got another addition here down at the bottom where you can save the changes and submit. Your buttons are here as well as the top. So let's go ahead and submit. It gives you another time that you can stop and make sure that your information is correct before you're submitting. You can cancel here if you wanted to review it one more time, or when you click on Continue, it will then submit. Now, once the application has been submitted, it automatically will give it an application ID. And the buttons up here change to print, where you can print the application or you can withdraw it. And of course, you still have the Spanish button. The other thing is that this application cannot be edited at this state anymore. You can see everything is grayed out. If you needed to make changes, you could withdraw it and then make your changes. But at this point, the application is submitted. If I click on my back to list, you can then see the status, the application status here is submitted. It gives you the creation date, the application ID, submitted date. And if you needed to go back and look at it again or print it, you can click on summary and it takes you right back. The other thing is you should then, once it's submitted, receive an email. I'm going to pop over to my email and show you an example of what a submitted application would look like. Here it is. You typically will have the logo. If you have a Google email account, you might not see that logo, but otherwise you should be able to see the logo. And it will then give you your application ID. It will let you know what you applied for and the requested amount, along with some additional information and links. I'm going to hop back over to the WAMS application. Now, if you're in the list or you're just logged into the home page, let's say that you just logged in and you wanted to check your status, one of the things you can do is click on the View IFSP Applications here, and that takes you right back to the list. Again, you can go right here. So that's scenario number one. The next scenario is we have an individual who is, sign out, there we go. We have an individual who is over the age of 18, but the custodial family member needs to complete the application for them. So I'm going to click on the option to log into the IFSP portal, and the person's name is Patrick Starr, Starr, and the last 6 digits, 992353 of the social security number. His birthday is 7/14/1991. And then log in. I'm going to start the new application. And remember, this person is over the age of 18, but the custodial family member needs to complete the application. So I'm going to select I am a family member of the person on the waiting list and continue. The next question that comes up is, as the custodial family member, you need to confirm that this person lives with you and that you're a family member to make major decisions for them. If you select no, it's going to say you're not eligible to apply for the funds, and then you can cancel the application. But we're going to go ahead and choose yes here and then click on continue. Now this one is a little bit different only because we have the applicant's information at the top, but we automatically also have the custodial family members' information. Now, remember I said if you needed to make a change, you can click on update information. One of the things that you need to keep in mind is it's only updating the information for the application. It's not updating the official record. So if you do need to update the official record of the individuals, then you need to contact the CSB for that individual. Notice it will let you know what CSB in parentheses beside it. Now, if it is something, for instance, I clicked on update information. So notice when I deselected, it's locked. So when I click on update information, I can then go in. Notice that the address says should be Sponge. So there needs to be an E here. Now, because this is the part of the official record, not only would you want to do it here, but you would indeed want to go ahead and contact the CSB to let them update the official record as well, because that would be a permanent change. The next section down after you update the record is to put in the custodial family member's name. So we're going to put the first name of the custodial family member, Barbara Starr, the date of birth, the social security number, and the address. Now I'm just going to copy and paste to make it a little bit easier. And the custodial family email address. Now, this is where all of the notifications will go to. So regardless of what email address is here, the address that you want to make sure where you want to get notified should be in the custodial family member's email. I'm going to just make it be the same. Now, once you get the custodial family member's information completed, then you want to go down to the rest of the application, and it works the same way. The funding application, you need to check that box. Select the needed category. I'm going to choose community integration. And by the way, notice that Patrick is a priority too. That means Patrick gets $500. So I'm going to go ahead and just say I want day support program, and we're going to put in the entire amount, $500. Add requested amount. And then we go down to the signature. We check these three options. We sign, and this will be the person who's completing the application. Barbara Starr. We can save the changes, double check, make sure everything's correct. And then once you're ready to submit, click on submit there. Again, you get the opportunity to make additional changes if you need to. You can cancel. I'm going to click on continue to submit the application. If I needed to print the application, I would click on print here. It's going to open up in a new window. You can save it as a PDF if you'd like to, or print it to a printer. If I needed to make any changes to this application once I've submitted it, I can withdraw it as long as the funding period is opened. Once that funding period has been closed, you will no longer be able to withdraw and make any changes. All right, the last scenario, I'm going to go ahead and sign out here, is to complete an application for a child. So I'm going to click on log in, go to my IFSP portal login. The last name is Locker, L-O-C-K-E-R. Last 6 digits of Social Security is 349967. And the birth date is 9/8/2015. And I'm going to click on Login. I'm going to start a new application. Now here I've got two options. Who's submitting this application? If they're a child not over the age of 18 or 18 or older, and select I am a person on the DD waitlist, they're trying to complete it for themselves, and click on continue. You're going to get an error message that says applicants under 18 must have a family member apply on their behalf. Please ask a family member to apply for you. And you can click on dismiss all. And then there's the option to start a new application right here for the custodial family member. So start a new application so it knows how old the applicant is based on the login. I'm going to go ahead and select I'm a family member of the person on the wait list and click on continue. And I'm going to confirm that the person on the wait list lives with me. So I'm going to choose yes and continue. And again, this is all the same. If I needed to update the information, I would select this option here. I put in the custodial family members information, first and last name, birth date, social security number, street address. I'm going to, again, copy and paste. And email address. Funding category, I'm going to select I understand and acknowledge that I'm applying for the funds. Again, here we go. With Rocky is a priority 3. He only gets $500, or I should say he gets $500. And then the information that I'm going to put in is for safe living. We've got adaptive furniture, and we're going to put in $200. Add requested amount. The next item or category, community integration, and we're going to choose some recreational activities. Maybe Rocky wants to go take some art classes. There we go, $150. Add requested amount. And then one more category, improved health outcomes. And we're going to choose medication and $150. Add requested amount. That gives us the total of $500. And then all we need to do is sign here. So we're going to select I agree, I certify, I understand. Sorry. For the scrolling, and full name, signature of the custodial family member, John Locker. Save changes, just to be on the safe side, and submit. Now, for whatever reason, if I needed to withdraw this application, I've checked and I was like, oops, I forgot I need something different than what I've selected here. I'm going to go ahead and click on, once I log in, click on withdraw. Notice the options to submit and discard are back. So at this point, I can go ahead and make whatever changes that are needed. When I click on edit, notice the editing button is here. This works on the same way on every application. But in order to make the changes, I need to scroll up and select the information here. So if I meant this to be dental, then I could select it, save my changes, and notice the improved health outcomes is now dental instead of medication. I can then save and submit. Submit, continue. And those changes have been made and resubmitted. The other thing is if I wanted to withdraw the application altogether, I don't want it anymore, I can click on withdraw. And instead of making any changes, I'm just going to click on discard. And it's going to ask you, are you sure? I'm going to go ahead and choose continue. And at this point, that application is no longer there and available. I can start a new one, or I can just say I just want to withdraw. Heather, is there anything else that you would like for me to cover, or anything that I may have missed?
No, I think you did a great job covering everything. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We've got a few more slides for you, and then we'll have some time to answer some of the questions. Thanks for everybody for putting questions in the chat. And Lynn, you can share. All right, thank you so much. So, as you can see here, we do have what's called our IFSP funding page on the My Life, My Community website. And if you go to that page, that's where you're going to get the button that's going to take you directly to be able to log in and apply, just where Dee Dee was showing you. So that you see that screenshot on the slide there, you'll see the that application button there. We also have multiple other resources there. So you can find the official guidelines. You're going to see a new resource that we created this year, and it's called Understanding IFSP Funding. And it follows the guidelines, but explains them in more everyday language so that they're easier to understand. If you click on the guidelines, you can find what you need, but we thought it might be helpful to kind of explain them with less jargon, so it's a little easier to understand. And then the second half of that document includes other frequently asked questions and answers. So if you first go through the first half, it'll take you through all of the important pieces of the program. And then if there's still questions, scroll down and you'll see some other frequently asked questions and answers. We'll also have there, we have a 2-page quick reference guide, quick reference user guide that Dee Dee created for you all. And then that's there now, but it's also in the process of being translated into Spanish. We have a document called What's New This Year for IFSP Funding, and that's going to just tell you if you've applied before and you want to know what's different about the application. Dee Dee had went over a lot of that today, but you can also check out that What's New document. And then very soon we will have the full user guide uploaded. We'll have a quick tips page. We'll have a recording of either this training or the other trainings we do this week. And we'll have something called the Beyond the IFSP Funding, which is a detailed guide of allowable items and free to reduce cost resources for commonly requested items. And then we are working on a video with some information about how funds are issued using those Way2Go debit cards, because we know everybody has lots of questions about that once you get your cards, how to use them and what to do if you have any issues with your card. So that is where you want to go. You want to favorite that page if you're applying for funding, and that's going to be where all your resources are. And you can also find information on My Life, My Community about other resources, about waiver services, non-waiver services. You can read all about the other IFSP programs we told you about. So I encourage you to go explore that My Life, My Community website. And we also, next slide. I'll let Lynn tell you a little bit about funding approvals.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lynn Fetter, and I'm going to be sharing about funding approvals. So if you are approved, you'll receive your funds within 3 months. That funding will come in the mail on a debit card called a Way2Go card. And for each year of funding, you receive a separate card. So if you were approved in the past and you're approved this year, still watch out for a new card. Please register this card as soon as possible so that you can access your funds. If you need help with this, like Heather said, you can visit the IFSP funding page. You can call the Conduit customer service line, which is automated, or you can call the My Life, My Community helpline. Pass it back to Heather.
All right, thanks, Lynn. And next slide. So lastly, Lynn just mentioned that My Life, My Community helpline, 844-603-9248. That's open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And the helpline is there to support you. They can answer questions and help troubleshoot issues, but they cannot complete the application for you. So If you need help and you need somebody, to help you actually complete it, you'll need to ask somebody that you know. But you could call them and they'll do their best to answer your questions and make the process easier for you. And again, one final reminder to check out that funding page. And lastly, we would love for you all to subscribe to our email list. We do a lot of hard work to get information out that's helpful for you, not just about funding, but about other things that might be of interest to you. And we send reminders about materials and funding announcements through this email list. You'll see our monthly digest there with lots of helpful resources and opportunities. And if you aren't subscribed, check out the link in the chat. We promise not to bombard you with too many emails. It's usually just one per month, along with some special announcements from time to time. So we really appreciate if you take the time to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our email list. And we hope that our program is helpful to you and more than just funding. We really, really want to make things easier for you. We know being on the wait list is really hard. Okay, what questions do we have, Rhonda?
Okay. Our first question is, will they be able to get a copy of the presentation?
Yes, and I see here Rachel put in the chat that we will be posting a recording of this training to our funding page. And so that will be there hopefully by next week.
Okay. Another question, what if the Social Security number has not been added to the record yet?
Okay, Dee Dee, I'm not sure if you covered that in your section, but I do believe that if someone is having trouble, first of all, if you definitely want to get in touch with your community services board, your support coordinator, and check and see, is your social security number in the system? Is it accurate? Is your last name accurate? Is your date of birth accurate? Because all those things need to be accurate, so when you log in, it's correct. But if you know that your social security is not accurate or you're having any issues with your social security number, you can try entering all zeros in that field when you log in. And Dee Dee, correct me if I'm getting this wrong, but I believe that's the answer to that question is if you talk to your CSB and made sure everything's accurate, you might also try the 6 zeros.
Yes, that's correct, Heather. If it's a problem with logging in, you're not getting the Social Security number correct, definitely call your support coordinator or the CSB to see what's in the actual system in WAMS. If you're in the application, if you've logged in and the Social Security number is not there or it's all zeros or something like that, you can edit it within the application and put the correct information in. Or you can use all zeros.
Okay,
Thank
next
you, Dee Dee.
question may be connected in terms of contacting your support coordinator is, how do you know if you're on the wait list?
Okay, so yes, if you're not sure if you're on the wait list, you can call your community services board. And if you don't know what your community services board is, Rachel, can you drop that in the chat, the link to the VACSB website? So you go to this website and you put in your zip code and it'll tell you the CSB in your area or the community services board. And sometimes it's called a behavioral health authority. And then you can contact them and just say, I think I'm on the wait list, but I'm not sure. I'd like to speak to someone about the DD waivers wait list. And they will put you in touch with the support coordination team at that CSB, and they'll be able to look it up and find out if you are on the wait list.
Okay, next question. If you're approved for funding, can you use the funding for IFSP for goods and services that you've already paid for?
No, you cannot. Our regulations do not allow funding to be used for anything that you've paid for in the past. Once you get your email notification saying that you've been approved, your card will be coming soon. You can begin spending the funds, but we recommend that you wait until you receive your card, because that way you know 100% that you've got it. You register it, you can take the money off, there's lots of different ways that you can handle your card when you get it, but you need to register it right away, and do not you do not plan on using the funds for something you've paid for in the past.
Next question. When do the funds on the card expire?
Okay, I'm going to let you answer that one, Rhonda. That's your specialty.
Okay, great. So once you receive your debit card, and you can only receive funding on a debit card. So I'll answer another question, not through direct deposit. You must register the card immediately. That is very important, to register the card. Once it's registered, actually, once the card is issued, you have 1 year, 3 months to utilize the funds. Do not pay attention to the date that is stamped on the card. Because this is a Visa, MasterCard, they have to stamp a date on it, but the funding that is applied to the card will expire in 1 year, 3 months. And then if you allow it to expire and not have the funds utilized, it will return to the Commonwealth of Virginia. Okay. Next question. I think we answered, where do you check for a priority level?
Yeah, and I'll answer that one just again is remember, when you contact the Community Services Board, like to find out if you're on the wait list, you can also ask them, I know I'm on the wait, like if you know that you're on the wait list, but you're not sure what your priority number is, you can ask your Community Services Board staff. You can also log in and begin your application, and it'll tell you, like Dee Dee showed you, it'll tell you if you're on priority 1, or if you can apply for up to 1,000, or if you're on priority 2 or 3 and can apply for up to 500. So if you're trying to get prepared, feel free to ask your Community Services Board staff. But if you're in the middle of applying and you're like, I'm not even sure, it'll tell you. And then also, I did want to go back to that question before about, can someone, if the funding is approved, can it be put into direct deposit account of a person on wait list? So Rhonda answered that. The funds are always going to come on that debit card. Now, if you get that card and you take the funds off of the card, it can be put into a bank account. Like those funds, you can deposit those funds into a bank account, but we just can't direct deposit it into a bank account. It's always going to come on a card.
Let me give some additional on that. So you can create a PIN. Once you register the card, that's important, number 1. You can create a PIN to withdraw funds by ATM, but there may be fees, applicable fees, if you do that. If you want to deposit the funds from the card into a bank account, that is an option. And the best way that we have found is for people to take the card into the bank and allow them to do the transfer in person. You have less errors. And if you make a decision to deposit money from cards into a bank account, please make sure that the account is in good status, because once the funds are transferred and captured, we cannot do anything if there's an error in that transfer process. And it needs to be in a bank that is a physical location, an actual branch, not anything online. Okay, next question.
I think we're hitting 10:30, but I can answer one more question.
This is the last one that I captured. If a custodial family member is applying for 2 minors in the same household and they are priority 1, will they each receive up to $1,000, or do they have to share $1,000 per household?
You can apply for up to $1,000 for each minor. Doesn't matter if they're in the same household.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. If there are any other questions that we didn't get to, I'm sorry about that, but you're welcome to reach out to us. And and we can answer your question if you use that IFSP support mailbox. And we really hope that this has been helpful for you. And we encourage you to let other people know if you have friends that are on the wait list and they might want to apply, they can attend one of our other trainings. Our next training for people on the wait list and their family members is Tuesday, tomorrow at 1 o'clock. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you to my team and for all your hard work, and have a wonderful rest of your day.